welcome back to another episode of the Codersarts. So in this series of episode, we talk about or we do hands-on, and in this series basically is a Python variables and data type series. Okay, so till now we have already discussed many concepts like how to define variables, how to define different data types like numerics and numbers data type, strings, boolean. Okay, now we are going to learn, or in this video we are going to learn, if we have already till now we have already learned what are the different data type, and how to define. But somewhere in programming languages and some cases, if you need to check what is the type of the data, like you don't know what is the data type. Okay, so how we can check, like suppose if we are reading some files, okay, or let something, if there is 100 lines of code, right, let's make it something like that. And let's suppose var1 and this something like that. Okay, I am written 100, and then after there is some line of code. Okay, and maybe n means nth number, and it might be 1000. Okay, let's something like that. Okay, so suppose you have one variables v1. Okay, and not make it there. So and this is line number 1. Okay, code means line number 1, and in some point of time you are line number 1000. Okay, so it's not very uh, good sense or good practice, or maybe it will be very time consuming. It will be too much scrolling, like you have to scroll your code too much to check. Okay, so what is the type of variables one. Okay, so or maybe if you had some file, okay, and this variable is defined in some other file. Okay, and maybe in single file you have 100 at the line number 100, and you want to check in first line we have defined some variables but do not know what is the data type of that variables. So that where this type function, there is one function called type, is very helpful. Type function is just used to check the data type of any variables. Okay, so this is one use cases. Okay, there might be in your mind it might be some other use cases, but just I'm giving one examples. Okay, or it might be because in sometimes there is n variables. Okay, but you are not sure, because once you are sure about the data type variables, then based on that you can perform different operators, right? If there is numerical value, then you can easily add two value. If the variables, suppose this is integers, in type, and maybe in line 2 or something like that, in line 2 it might be something again the variables 2, and that is also 20. Okay, so if you already know what is the data type of the variables, then you can easily do any operation based on their data type. Okay, so that's why the type operator is very helpful. Okay, so let's do some coding and check where we can and how we can check this one. Okay, so this was the last video, so let's close this one and open new files and save this type functions. Okay, save this code. Okay, so type function. Okay, let's close the previous one. Okay, so how we can do that? So let's first define some variables. Okay, like let's define age and give any variables called 18. Okay, and define some age. We have already defined something. Okay, so 5.9. okay, and let's some define called name. So let's define, okay, and define some variables called some is a student. Okay, and the variable is true. Okay, so you already know these are integer, these are float, these are a name, but right, but somewhere you need to check. Okay, so in this case you have to call the functions. Okay, and yeah, this I already explained how to define this variable, then you can easily know. But as a compiler level, at code level, we have to prove this one. Okay, so how this is age, how can you say this is an integer type? Okay, So for this one, there is, we have to call this function called type, and this is functions. Okay, inside this function you have to pass the value. Okay, so this one, and this will be should print something like this. It will print something class int. Okay, so this type of things will be print. So it's basically, this will print the data type class, you know, class of the data type classes basically. Okay, so let's copy this one and name in this one, and is a student. Okay, so in this case what should be the, it should be float. Okay, and this should be str. Okay, and this should be bool. Okay, so you have to make this one. Okay, so just check it, is this correct or not. Yeah, so you can see the output. The first age is in type int class. So type basically return the type of class age. Okay, so it's a type of object. Okay, so int class, height belongs to float class, str name belongs to str class, and this is called bool. Okay, so this will return this data type. Okay, so this is simple examples for how to check the data types, and next video we will see how we can do type conversion. Okay, so type conversion means how convert one data type to another data type. Okay, so suppose this is age. Okay, and we have to convert. If you want to explain in this one, okay, so I can explain, but I think this will be very very easy to understand in the in separate video. Okay, so this was use of type functions. Okay, so that's all for this one in this video. So let's meet in another one. In that video we will learn how to use type conversion or data type from one data type to another data type, or maybe any other concept that is important. Okay, so thank you for watching.